La-di-da-di-da.
Woohoo!
Yay!
The
It went.
countdown
Okay.
is complete. Yay! All right,
And I
there we
went live on
go.
Instagram. Yay! Okay.
Wahoo!
Everybody's happy now. Oh, look, it's still
Yep.
that message about
Oh
shipping.
golly, yeah, I've got to get in there and get rid of that. Sorry about that.
Hi,
Lord have mercy.
friends.
Hello, all.
Welcome. Welcome to
Woohoo!
Spinnin with Q and Katy.
Yes, indeed.
Yarn
It's
Adventures
a
here
it's a regular thing these
somewhere.
days. Yeah, where are you guys?
We're in New Mexico.
Wow,
We're
I'm
right
sort of
next
jealous.
to we're in Alamogordo,
Okay, did you have to
which
practice
is
that?
I did have to practice that. Alamogordo, which is right outside of White Sands National Park.
Oh,
So
and then is that where you went today? Is that where you were
we
saying you went
did.
today?
We went to White Sands
Hey,
today, so that was fun.
good. Well, it's a good
And
thing one of
Dean,
us did our homework because
yeah,
you
I
were
didn't do
enjoying
my
yourself.
homework.
What, dude?
I
That's okay.
totally. This was our fourth national park in 8 days.
I think that's
So
awesome. It's also very you
and
guys.
we had 2 days of setup in there too. So
Oh, good
yeah,
God.
and a zoo
Whew.
day.
Yeah, even
Yes.
when you go on vacation, you are busy. It's kind of crazy. You know, what I want to do on vacation is nothing. But
Well, I
you
do
guys are
that
like,
other
we're
times.
going to go see the
And we
Grand Canyon. We're going to go
we
see
did go to the
50
Grand
other
Canyon.
state parks. I
The
think
Grand
it's
Canyon was
wonderful.
lovely. That's where we were last Tuesday.
Wow.
And so we were at a campsite. It's about 8 miles south of Alamogordo, and it is up. It's in Dog Canyon,
Oh my. Okay.
and it has an incredible view of the night sky. So Dean has his
Oh,
telescope out again tonight. So that's exciting. So Stellar
is Dean going to
Spectrum
go
will
out with
have
it? Oh, good. More pictures. Yay, yay,
more.
yay.
Yes. Is he going to go
Yay.
out with everything? Probably.
Yeah.
I
Oh, I hope so.
imagine.
So sorry we're late. For folks who are here,
Yeah. Sorry,
Katie
guys.
and I are the class subcommittee for the Alabama Fiber Festival, which is in November in Birmingham, Alabama, and we had our first meeting for the 2026 festival tonight. So
November
we just got
13th
done
and
with that.
14th.
That's right. Yes, yes, and it's going to be. Gosh, last year's festival was a ton of fun, and I have
What?
every reason to believe that this year's festival is going to be ditto. So and you have time to plan your trip now.
Well,
You
and
are
you never know. Q and I might teach some crazy Spinnin with Q and Katy class.
Well, what
I don't know
what
in a
are you
week.
talking about? I don't even know.
As
You
if
are on
neither of
drugs.
us have time to do that, but
Nope.
that's okay.
Uh,
We'll make it
Time
happen.
and wheels, but you know what? I feel like that's probably going to happen. Yeah, we learned tonight that they got feedback that they needed an e-spinning class, and we were like, we can help with that.
We
That is a thing
can.
that we can do. Yes.
We're so
So
excited.
yes.
So I have the other laptop over here, and so that's where I'm looking at Instagram comments. So
Okay,
I
good.
keep looking over here. That's what I'm doing.
I'm live on
So
Instagram, but no one has joined so far. Oh, nope. Little Mom 1983 joined. Hello, Little Mom
yay.
1983.
Okay, then it's working. Yay.
Yep.
We love it when it works. All
Yep.
right. So this is Spinning with Q and Katy, and we are covering the Spinner's Book of Yarn Designs by Sarah Anderson. Woo! And I'm gonna go find my email so that I can figure out what we're doing next week too.
Yes.
Until then, Q is gonna tell you all about what she read about our homework, because I read the
Hawser
chapters,
plying.
but I didn't actually do anything.
Hawser plying. Well, unfortunately, it was only like 4 pages tonight. This was not a thing I had ever heard of. It's called hawser plying, and hawser, it comes from it's a form of rope, I think, a very strong rope. And having done a little bit of plying today to create a hawser yarn, I can see where you would want to do this if you wanted or needed something that was very strong. Also something that was sort of lovely and soft if you're working with something particularly soft. I do not think that it would make for good stitch definition unless your fundamental plies are really, really tiny, like Katy tiny. And I was deliberately working with, I can't spin all that well right now because hands. So I was working with a commercial singles. So what you do to make a hawser yarns are,
and we're going to spell that. It's HAWSEWSER.
Right. Right. And
HAWSER.
WSER. And hawser yarns are yarns that are, I think they're at least 4 ply, and they can be more than that.
Yes.
One of the things that I didn't realize about the book that we're working our way through until
they're
we
even
started
number
doing
plies.
Even number plies. Yeah.
Even
One of the
numbers.
things I didn't realize about this, didn't know about this book until we started working our way through it, is she does take a fair amount of care to demonstrate some of these different kinds of yarn, not just as yarns, but also in crocheted and knitted and tatted things. And I think that's actually pretty cool. The knitting ones don't make sense to me because I am a very, very beginning knitter, but I appreciate that she does it. So that's one of the things, if you are following along in the book, that's one of the things that you will see with some of these techniques, is that she shows you what they look like in a textile that she's created. So what you do with a hawser yarn, to make a hawser yarn, is you take, let's say we're going to make a 4-plied hawser yarn. Okay, so you're going to need ultimately 4 yarns. You take 2 singles that have been spun the same direction. For the sake of argument, we're going to say they were spun Z, which is clockwise. This is violating all of Katie's fine sensibilities because she's like the one person in 27,000 in the US who spins S. But we're going to say that these singles were spun Z. So the spun clockwise, and you ply those 2 singles together the same direction. So when we've talked about this before, when we've talked about making a 2-ply yarn, we've talked about the importance of having both of your singles in a 2-ply yarn be spun the same direction and then plying them the opposite direction, which twines them together and takes some of the over twist out of the yarn. For a hawser yarn, you are taking multiples of sets of 2 singles, and you are plying them in the same direction that they were spun. And so what that looks like when you have done it, I was working with Brown Sheep, Lamb's Pride, which is a commercial singles. And so what that looks like when you've done it is this. Let's see, let's get this. So it's very, very visible. Okay.
When you spin in the same, when you ply in the same direction that you spin. Yes.
Correct. Now this is actually a viable skein of yarn. But boy, howdy, is it a twisty, tangly, coily kind of tribble, This is
if
something
we reach back into our memories,
right?
So many months ago, I did a spinning daily with Katie thing where we did 20 minutes a day.
Oh, yeah.
And I spun this lovely Shetland. Hi, Jamie.
Okay.
And I did a fabulous job spinning it some direction. I still don't know what direction it was. And then I came back and I said, I'm going to ply this. And I applied it. I've had 2 ounces I've done as singles and 2 ounces I did as singles. And then I spun it on itself, or applied it on itself, and it was awful. It was really weird. And it was this is what it looked like. So yeah, that's what it looked like.
So that is what happens when you deliberately or accidentally, in Katie's case, ply a 2 singles spun in the same direction they were spun. Okay, so you get this very, very, very overactive yarn there. And this is certainly something that you could use. This is a 2-ply yarn. Let me straighten it out a little bit so that you can see that. You can see, I think that's a 2-ply yarn. So it can be, you could have used it as a not 2-ply yarn. And by the way, thank you to Brown Sheep for making this nice commercial singles. I actually like the commercial singles. There are very few people who do, but I am one of the people that does. So this is a 2-ply yarn and it can be used, but because it has so much excess energy in it, unless you weave it, if you're going to knit or crochet with this, it is going to have an effect on the textile you've created. What you then do to make a hawser yarn is you ply at least 2 2-ply yarns like this one together in the opposite direction. So I started out with 2 Z-spun singles and I plied them Z to get this. And I made 2 of those. And then I took those 2 2-ply yarns and plied them together S. Okay. So what I got was an actual functional skein of yarn. There is absolutely some over twist in this because this is a new technique to me and I was still learning how to do it. But this is much less over energized than the 2-ply that it's made out of. It is not quite as great a demonstration of this as I had hoped because this yarn is actually more variegated in color internally than I had realized, but it does pretty much make the point. This is a 4-ply yarn. Okay. So now I was, again, learning plus starting with Oh gosh, I would say worsted weight singles. So this is not a skinny yarn, but there is no reason in the world that you could not do this with the thin singles. And you do actually get, I think this yarn is very pretty. I surprised myself by how much I like this, because when I did the first one of these, I was like, this is going to be hell.
So she definitely recommends a tensioned Lazy Kate for this.
Yes.
No matter how many plies you have going at once, tension it, and you're gonna hold it until it has twist, and then let it like hold tension on it as it comes off, so that it spins plies together and has twist and evens out some before you let it onto the bobbin. JJ said one, doll hair, a wig for a tiny dog is good for those things. Also,
those are both very creative.
Will wetting it and hanging it weighted with a rock help straighten it out? Yes, that would probably help with it, but you're always going to have some amount of spring bouncing back in that direction. So,
and wool has memory.
Yes.
So over time, even if you do that, especially if you're working with something that's 100% wool, which this is, over time, if you take the extra twist out of a skein of yarn, doing that, it will start to twist again. Now, if you have made it into something, that is likely to be a lot less obvious. But that the wetting it and hanging it weighted by a rock thing is not a foolproof way to take all of the overexcitement out of a yarn. But thank you. I'm glad that you think it is pretty. That makes me happy. Let me bop over and check my Instagram feed and see if anybody's. Hello, Abby Toen. Hello, Bolero Nets. Nice to see everybody there. So a thing about a hawser yarn that Katie mentioned, using a tension Lazy Kate. I did not do that, not because I did not read the 4 pages that we had to read, but because I was not sure where my tensioning system for the Lazy Kate I used was. I was doing the spinning on my EEW 6.1, my Dreaming Robots e-spinner, and you can buy a really good Lazy Kate for that wheel that also works with a number of other wheels. Ask me how I know. And I had that, but I could not find the tensioning system. So
the tensioning system works okay.
Okay.
It is not my favorite. I have a hard time like getting the tension right. I have used an Ashford standard tension Lazy Kate, and I find tensioning bobbins very finicky.
I do too.
That's just me.
I agree. No.
So, you may not want to start with tensioning with this yarn, because you might end up with a really tangly mess very, very quickly.
Well, that's what you're going to wind up with if you don't tension.
Oh, okay.
And I know that because that's what I wound up with. What happened was that the way what Katie described, it does actually work. Also works on the EEW. You do wind up stopping between lengths that you are plying, because essentially what you're doing is you're using your hands. You are holding the pinch, and you are using your hands to stretch out a length of the 4 yarns, the 2 overactive 2-ply yarns that you are going to ply together, until they are essentially straight. And the reason you do that is because of the way that this yarn, because it's so overactive and because you are deliberately putting all of this extra twist into it. Usually when you're plying yarns together, you're using your fingers to sort of smooth some of the additional activity in the yarn out as you go. You cannot do that with this yarn. What will wind up happening is you will push the twist down, and eventually you will have a giant knot. So the technique is a little different than standard plying. And I found when I was doing it that what happened was what tensioning your bobbins does on Lazy Kate is it prevents them from just turning freely. The more tension you have on the bobbin, the less it's going to move. I did not have a tensioning system on mine. So the minute I started to pull on the yarns that were on the bobbins, the yarns felt free to just spool themselves. Yes, very evocative piece of modern dance illustrating what those yarns did. Yes, precisely. Yes. And so they were merrily spooling their way off the bobbins. And I was over here, stretching out my 2 or 3 feet and letting my twist into that 2 or 3 feet, and then feeding that 2 or 3 feet onto the EW. And next to me, all of the yarn was coming off the bobbins and just snarling itself up. That is unravelable. but it's a tiny bit frustrating. So this is why Attention Lazy Kate is useful for this particular technique. And I can really see if you were going to make, as Katie said, a hawser yarn is a yarn that is multiples of 2 plies. And one of the ones that Sarah Anderson shows in the book is the 6 ply. And, the more yarns you are working with here, the more important I think it would be to use Attention Lazy Kate, because the more, if you don't do that, the more possibility you would have to have all of the twist piling on at once. Another thing that she did that's pretty, that I wound some balls of yarn but did not have time to do, was she made a multicolored skein of hawser yarn. This is basically, it's several different colors, but they're variations within the singles that I was using. They're all basically yellow and orange. You can, as with any plied yarn, you can choose a contrasting color, a complementary color that is considerably darker or lighter. I think it would be interesting trying this with a yarn that is heavier or lighter than with 2 yarns that are not the same weight. Because by definition, since I was using a skein of commercial singles, it was all the same weight. I am not sure how well this technique would work if, for example, you thread plied your singles.
Yeah.
And then
so that would make a spiral yarn. So I'm not sure. And that we kind of get into in the next chapter, or auto wrap singles.
But so, hey, if you want to try it, that could be a thing. I'm not sure how well that would work. Then again, this is the first hawsered yarn I have ever made. So, as with anything else, the more you do it, the better at it you get. I would do this again. When I got to this point, I was like, never again. I am going to make enough tribbles for this demo, and that's it. And actually, having made the yarn, now I really kind of want to try it with singles of mine that is lighter than the singles I was working with. It makes a pretty yarn. It really does. Yeah. It's not going to be a yarn that you're going to want to use for everything, because anytime you combine yarns in applied yarn, you increase the weight of the yarn and the diameter of the yarn, and that alters what you're going to want to do with it. But it is definitely a technique that I can see myself using again.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, no, I was reading about it, and I definitely thought that I would use it. I just didn't have time to sit down and spin.
It's totally okay. I was proud of myself for actually making the time to do it. So we're all good. We are getting to the point where we're going to try to have, demos.
Yes.
Samples to show you of these techniques when we can. I think we've both made the assumption that up till now, a lot of folks who are doing this with us are people who have seen a singles, if not spun one, who have seen a 2-ply, if not spun one. But from here on out, things start to get a little bit more something you'd want a visual for. So I can't guarantee that we'll be able to do that every week. But we are going to try to have that, at least be able to maybe show some pictures, or to show a video or something to show you what this looks like. I was going to try to take a video of the process of spinning this, and all 4 of my cats were like, "Oh, Mom, what are you doing? Are you doing something fun? Can we be up here with you?" And I was like, "That's going to be a disaster." And no. So, no video. Sorry.
Pictures. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to talk about more singles next week.
Yay.
So chapter 3 is all standalone singles. So we're going to talk about some felted singles. So we're going to talk about felting and why we would want to full our singles. And then we're going to talk a little bit about slub singles, which we've talked some about already.
We have, yes.
Actually, I might try to actually knit some.
Exciting.
If I have time in the next, whatever.
If you have time. Yep.
So we are back in New Mexico. So a year ago, we came to New Mexico, and I bought some fabulous fiber when we went to Los Alamos, which is where the national lab is, and Dean geeked out over nuclear energy and the whole thing. And
as one does. Yep.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. I made him go to the yarn store.
Fair. That is a totally fair exchange.
To be fair, I was driving, so it wasn't really a choice.
So when you say you made him go to the yarn store, what you really mean is you kidnapped him and dragged him to the yarn store.
He willingly walked across a parking lot. Then we went and got Starbucks. So
well, bribery will work every time, especially for people who don't drink coffee. But okay. Carry on.
So while I was there, it's a place called the Co-op, and it's a cooperative knit store, a yarn shop, and they also have a couple of local people who do fibers and those kind of things. And so I bought 2 braids while I was there. I bought this lovely multicolored like earth tones. It's called the colorway was called the Good Earth.
That's
and it
very
was just
good.
100% wool, nothing, no other information involved. And then I also bought 4 ounces of Surrey alpaca.
Ooh.
It was gray, and I looked at it and I go, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but I'm gonna buy it, and I'm gonna they're gonna go together. And so I did. And then I promptly found Q at our next like big event together, which was Greencastle Fiber Festival, which I had
time to talk to each other
to do. So instead of twiddling my thumbs,
plenty of chat time. Let's put it that way.
I carded the entirety of this
8
ounces of fiber into these beautiful bats that I called New Mexico Earth. And they were approximately half and half wool and Surrey, and we did different combinations of weight on them so that we got this really cool like
you got a gradient,
gray, green, brown element going on. And then in June I had breast reduction surgery, and so we decided to celebrate my new boobs that my best friend Amanda and I were going to make a matching vest. It's called the Bestie Vestie. That's the name of the pattern, the Bestie Vestie.
Killing me with that. Okay.
And this thing is like, I think I went a size too small because I cast on before I actually had measurements, and so I mean, the girls are there. They're very there, and this is a very cropped vest, but it's cabled, and I did a 2-ply. So I spun all the yarn, I spun all the stuff into singles, and then I plied it on itself. And so I had 1 ply that was slightly more Surrey, and the other ply is slightly more wool. And so they turned out fabulous. And I am about 3 hours from done on the collar and 1 of the sleeve caps. So that's about all I have left on it. I just haven't done it. So I've knit on it all during June and most of July, and then I set it down and it's sitting in a bag.
And things got crazy. Well, you need to finish it so that we can see it.
I was like, I'll get it done before we go back to New Mexico. Well, we leave New Mexico like next Saturday, this coming Saturday, and so I have to get it done before then. So
well, it's Tuesday. You do have a few days.
I do. So this will actually be my first hand spun project.
Ooh,
of my
that's fabulous.
So I will show that off, and I do still have some of the singles of that, and I will have some of the 2-ply left over as well. So I want to show that off and make sure you guys get to see that.
Yes.
I just did a regular 2-ply, nothing fancy plying on that. But I do want to talk about like the felting, because I've definitely had some really good examples of that. And then I did have some pretty good examps of slubbing in that too. So
okay.
I will.
So what are our pages for next week?
Our pages for next week are going to be they start on page 96, which is just a pretty page, and then we're going to deal with twist, the singles and slub singles, and that goes through page 101.
Okay, 96 to 101. That sounds like a very doable one. Nope, but that's okay.
But we can talk for an hour if we put our minds to it.
Have you guys met us?
And
yes.
I'm going to look for my list of the other things that I actually laid out at one point and figured out what I wanted to do, because I looked on the email and I can't find it now. So who knows what I do with it.
Well, you'll find it somewhere, probably just after you've redone it. We're going to continue to do this on Tuesdays. Just FYI, the second Tuesday of the month is the Alabama Fiber Festival Planning Committee meetings. So we will be doing it later on those nights. We are going to still shoot for 7 on the regular, but on that second Tuesday, it'll probably be 8 Central Standard Time. So, bear with us and keep tuning in. And if you are doing any kind of spinning along or want to start doing it, the hashtag is running underneath. I'm
it's
the way I'm looking
at Q and Katy.
Yes. Hashtag Spinnin with Q and Katy. All right. Well, that is our hashtag. And if you do put up any pictures of anything you are spinning, it doesn't necessarily have to be something that you're spinning along with us with the book. It can be something you're spinning kind of as you are hanging out with us. Feel free to use that hashtag. We are delighted that y'all are here, and we are looking forward to delving into some new techniques with you. We're gonna have a good time.
Yes, and we're actually going to spin some. I promise. It's gonna happen.
Yay! Yes, I'm having hand and arm surgery. Just found this out today on the 2nd of February. So I'm gonna have 2 weeks where I can't spin. So I'm considering
I'm gonna do my homework.
Well, that too, but I'm also considering making my sister try it. My sister has never spun in her entire life and is not really a fiber person, but she's coming to visit me. And I figure I can play the I'm recovering from surgery card and like attach her to an e-spinner, maybe. So, you know, there might be video evidence of this. We'll see.
If you are interested in seeing us in person, Yarn Adventure Truck will be at Fiber Arts on 4th in Albuquerque, New Mexico this Saturday. Dean will be out at the truck. I have 3 sessions of smending classes.
Smending?
Smending.
Smending.
Well, Sashiko and mending. So
oh, yeah.
I have several of those. And then on next Friday.
Yep.
A whole week from this weekend, we'll be Q and I will both be at Oxford Fiber Festival in Oxford, Mississippi. You can come join us there. There are classes. There's EEW class. You can come and spin with us. You can come meet us in person and then talk about all the fun things that we are doing. And
Which
then,
we would love.
Yeah, and then we'll be hanging out for a couple weeks. So you can also you can see us on the same camera at the same time, which is always a joy because we're a little chaotic. All right. We're down but
we're chaotic good though. Okay, I really feel like it's important to say that we're chaotic good. We're not chaotic evil. We're not chaotic neutral. We're chaotic good. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
All
right. I think JJ may have something to say about that. All right.
Well, that's all right. He can weigh in or not as he chooses, but I'm gonna stick with my story until I hear otherwise. Thank y'all for hanging out with us tonight, and we will see you again next week.
All right. Until then, happy crafting.
Happy crafting.
All right. We're gonna go over here and hit end stream. Yay.